Hi, I'm Owen Casey Stevens, and this is the story of how I figured out the kind of people I'd be working with at Wizards of the Coast. I was hired in 2000 to work at Wizards of the Coast on the Star Wars role-playing game and possibly other licensed products, and at the time, I had very little experience with professional people in the industry. I didn't really know anyone that worked at Wizards of the Coast. I had dealt with some of them as editors and developers, and had met some in a professional capacity, but none of them were friends, none of them were people I had gamed with, and I just wasn't sure what kind of work environment it was going to be. On the one hand, these people made role-playing games, so that sounded great. On the other hand, they were very clear that this was a corporate culture where you had to be professional and you had to produce word count, and that sort of sounded terrible. So on my first day, I was sitting with a whole group of people in RPG R&D. We were in cubicles, some people were in offices, and one of the people who was working there was Brian Campbell. Now, Brian Campbell is a good friend of mine now, and he was an editor, and I worked with him on a number of good projects, but at the time, I didn't know him at all. And so he wandered up to my desk, out of the blue from my point of view, and said, "Sir, I have a question for you." And if you know Brian, this all makes perfect sense, but I did not know Brian at the time, so this question did not make any sense. And he said, "Fez or pith helmet?" Now, I was both confused and intrigued. Those are two kind of classic pulp haberdashery choices, and it seemed to me that probably most people were going to pick Pith Helmet, that being the sort of action-adventure helmet. The Fez craze that came along a little later really hadn't hit yet at the time, or at least I wasn't aware of it. But at the same time, I was fascinated by the idea that perhaps there were advantages to a Fez over a helmet. So I told him, "Fez, I pick Fez." And he was fascinating. Why Fez? And I said, well, I figure with a Fez, you've got some extra storage. I mean, it's pretty tall, it's conical, you can, like, keep a sandwich or something in there, and that gives you an edge people don't know you have. It's fascinating! It's worth noting that later I did a Loot for Less product that was full of fezzes. It's Loot for Less 10, I believe. Fezzes are awesome. Anyway, that gave me some sense for what some of the sort of people at my level, the mid-rank folks who were new working there, were going to be like, but I still don't know what management was going to be like. I then later got taken around to meet some other people in other departments, other parts of the building. I nearly had a heart attack as a result, but that is literally another story. And when I got back, most of the people in the department had left. I'm not sure if it was late in the day or if they had other things to do. I genuinely don't know why most of them were gone. And then my boss had to take care of some stuff, so I was largely alone in the department. So I was trying to set things up, get things organized on my desk, do logins, that kind of thing. And then one of the office doors behind me bursts open, and out leaps Mike Selinker. Now, I did not know Mike Selinker well at the time. I know him a good deal better now, and I consider Mike to be one of the best game designers. Period. There's no qualification there. I think he's one of the best game designers. So Mike is a little wild-eyed, and he looks to one side, and he looks to the other side, and he locks his eyes on me because I'm the only human being in the area, and he says, "Owen, quick! Can an 11-year-old boy hold a wallaby one-handed?" No. I mean, maybe if he clutches it to his chest, he can lift it up. No. Can he hold it out with one arm fully extended? No, I don't. I mean, maybe a wallaroo. Good idea! And he leapt back into his office and he shut the door. Just for note, it took me like 6 years to find out why he asked me that question, and that part of the story is something I only talk about in person. But it gave me a real sense that while we were going to be doing work, and it was going to be a little intense, these were people who were perfectly happy to have a good time, and were the kind of nut jobs that I could get along with. So that was the beginning of a good long stretch of my work being full of good times.